Proby, I'm sorry. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, go ahead.
We shut down the class. Not the school, just the class.
You shut
In
down the
fact,
class.
yes, listen to this. We had a issue at the beginning of when this all started and when they set up these centers all over the boroughs where a para was positive
Hmm.
and the people that was working with her was put what do they call it? Quarantine. Rest of the staff didn't know. No one else knew. We just thought they quit.
Okay. So they shut down the class.
Hmm.
What about the kids who interacted with other children? I mean, shouldn't they actually shut down the school as opposed to shutting
Yes,
down just a class?
yes, yes. But considering everyone goes to the same bathroom, yeah.
Yeah. So how are the
Hmm.
maintenance men cleaning? Because I spoke to two maintenance men
They
and they
do
said that
not.
there's no plan.
There is no plan. First of all, from the way I've seen them clean, that's not really cleaning. Because I've seen where something has been on the floor and they supposedly clean and it's still there on the floor. I think they need to be trained on how to clean like how they do in hospitals. That's what they need.
So you believe, as I believe, that they should be cleaning on a more repetitive basis. But I've also
Yes.
been told that
Well,
no maintenance factor has been added to the mix. So the same maintenance people that have been there are the ones
right.
that are there.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They need to get a crew that actually cleans hospitals that had COVID to come in and show them how they should be cleaning.
Okay, I got that. Because maintenance men work the whole year round. They don't just
Yes.
come in and out. So this should have been, and that's a plausible idea. This should have been handled, which was what I was saying in the beginning.
Hmm.
They were so busy talking about and planning the online training that they had been thrown into that they didn't plan ahead. Because once we got the gist of it, by the end of March going into
Hmm.
April, with the online training, we should have been working on the new plan as to how we were
And
handling
that's
getting them
and then
back.
the new exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
I'm with you. All right, but here's the deal. We're talking about adding new personnel. Now, let me pose something else that I've been getting from the group of this collective of different levels of people that I've gotten in this system.
Hmm.
With splitting up the classrooms, because a teacher now is not teaching 30, she's teaching 15, possibly,
Hmm.
depending on the social distancing and the size of the classroom. Who else teaches the other 15 people? That's question number one. Because they're not hiring more teachers and they're not pulling teachers out of the rubber room where they have them just sitting there because they're under some kind of punishment or something,
Well, what they've been doing is having the parents teach.
which is illegal.
No comment.
Is that a call that we
Yes.
have coming in? Okay. All right. So they're having parents teach, but the parents, okay. But let's explain to the audience. The parents, for those of you who don't know, are if you were raised in the 60s, 70s, they're the student teachers.
Teachers aid. Yeah.
So, because the new word for them is paraprofessionals. Okay. But paraprofessionals come in different levels because you can have a para that's an isolated para to a specific child, which is
Hmm.
what is that, the IEP.
Yes.
Whatever the special need to that child is what that para services. The child could have a
Hmm.
broken leg, and in fact, my child had a broken leg and was with the para because he was in a cast, and the para basically carried his book bag and opened doors for him and made sure he was okay and didn't fall down on school property. But there are
Hmm.
also other paras because of social and emotional needs, which
Yes.
is big. because we
Yeah.
have children with autism, we have children with APGARs, we have children with some psychological learning difficulties who, how do you explain, and I'm not yelling at you, Proby, I'm just really
No, no.
angry, but how do you explain to this child who you can barely control on a good day
Yeah.
that you got to put the mask on and you can't touch this and that? Because some of these children operate from touch.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so how do we deal
And
with this?
it's causing them anxiety because I've seen it firsthand where the child will go off.
Mm.
And to the point that the classroom have to be cleared out.
So let me
Because
ask
the
you
person
this.
is throwing things and going on the floor and trying to hurt. Well, yeah.
Wow, really? It's that much
Yes.
of an exhibition that because of the mask for the
Yes.
child. Okay,
And
I get it.
yes.
I
And they're
get it.
not touching because I guess it feels like he is being stifled.
I'm an adult and I feel like I'm being choked with this thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm in respiratory care and feel like I'm choking sometimes with these on. And they have to stay in them for, this is 8 hours.
Yes.
And some of them before 8 hours because they have to walk the streets to get there with them on.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let me ask you this. And I'm going to step out on a very dangerous question right now. Do you feel that they should have done this? And if given the choice, would you have opted out?
They shouldn't have done it, and I would have opted out.
Okay.
I have family in the medical profession, and I've seen and I've heard, and yeah. Mm-mm.
So they're forcing it.
Mm.
In fact,
Yeah.
I've researched the fact that there are schools in Idaho, there are schools in California, there are schools all over the country that are actually trying these things. In fact, the news just had pictures of them roaming across the hallways as if nothing was happening and nobody had on a mask. And these were
Yeah.
adolescent children. These were 14, 15, 16-year-olds who can get the virus and can carry it.
So listen, if adults do not adhere to wearing a mask, what made them think kids are going to do the same thing? Are
And that,
going to, wear the mask?
that brings me to another question, because you have adults who don't want to make the mask and have been making a big deal of wearing the masks. What are you doing with their kids? Because there are parents, and I don't necessarily think they're Trump supporters, I just think they're ignorant. Put the mask on, it's not going to kill you. But the kids now don't want to wear the mask because the parents don't want to wear the mask. What do we do with those kids?
No, every child that comes in, if they don't have a mask on, we give them one. Now, once they get in class and you turn your back and they take it off, we can say, put it back on. That's a constant thing we're saying. Put your mask on. Put your mask on. Put your mask on. Put your mask on.
Already, you're having to
Yeah.
say this. So now these
Yeah.
masks are the regular surgical mask, the regular blue
Yeah.
surgical mask. All right, so you know they break in like a
Oh,
minute.
yes. Oh, yes. So walk back to the nurse and get another mask.
But we don't have PPE for the people in the hospitals, the nurses and doctors in the hospitals. But all of a sudden we have all of this PPE.
Yeah.
And you have hand sanitizer, as you said before.
Yes.
Are you guys using the New York hand sanitizer? Does it say New York hand sanitizer on it?
No, it doesn't say New York hand sanitizer.
Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. So, have you been given any new strategic game plan to handle this situation? Or is it just a question of, make sure they keep the mask on, make sure they keep their hands clean, and
Yes.
keep them 6 feet apart?
Yes. That's
So
it.
basically, there's no
No
plan.
direction, nothing,
Okay.
nothing,
Wow.
nothing.
Wow. And you said something interesting earlier on with regard to the transportation, because you said that there are no buses, there are no school buses.
Well, the Daily News did an op-ed where they're saying the DOE is looking to buy three um, school buses, business, not physically just three buses by itself,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. And but from listening to the conversation that some big wigs were having, they would have bus driver, a matron, and of course the bus wouldn't be full to the social distance on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
But no one would be checking the kids' temperature or think they're sick until when they get to the actual school. So all the kids that are on the bus, it's like a petri dish, and hopefully no one on that bus is infected
So
because they won't know until when they get to the school.
here's the $1 million question. Are the matron and the bus driver checked? Have they given them a test?
That, my dear, is a question that needs to be answered.
Well, see, my thing is you want everybody to go back to work because, again, this is really what it's about. It's not about our children's education because for the first month that they're back, you're going to be teaching them how to use the damn PPE. It's not worth jumping back into English and math and all of that. They can't
No,
even do
no,
gym. But it's about people getting back to work. So they
yeah,
really need to be testing the parents as they go to work.
yeah. And not only that, they really need a lot of mental health. How do I say it?
Mm. I,
The kids are
I
stressed.
I was told that they hired several hundred guidance and counselors to help with this situation and help people adapt. You can't hire teachers. Lock everybody at home. Let this thing settle down. There are countries, Proby, there are countries, and a lot of people in the United States don't even notice. There are countries that were given bulk sums to family members, $30,000 and $40,000. Stay home. Let us figure this out. Their kids are not back in school. Everybody is off the streets. Let us take care of this situation. Here we get a $1,200 check. Everybody's I don't know if everybody's content. I just they can't be because we're fighting for unemployment for people. People are stressed and people are scared. And now
Yeah,
in this stress and this fear, we're supposed to send children, the number one
and
scared people, back into buildings for an entire day.
yeah, sometimes people forget that even though they're kids, they do understand, they do feel, they do hear. You may not want them to hear, but they do hear what you're saying. They're all aware of what's going on.
Yes.
And I've had a couple of kids get panic attacks.
My last child won't come out the house.
My daughter too.
Okay. So there is, and 15 years down the line, the emotional distress that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
caused by the damage that's happening now is going to be astronomical. Think about that. We have young adults that are going through this, and they are going to be the adults of our future, planning government, teaching, running companies, and the damage that's happening right now is going to be so severe. I don't know how we're getting, especially for these high school kids, I don't know how we're going to get this rhythm back in order to get them into college level for them to operate. What are your views on that? want you. Oh my goodness, you know what? I realize that it is an emotional moment, and this, I know you're a parent and I'm a parent, and they're not hearing this. People are not thinking about this, and that's why I'm doing this show. So they need to hear the emotion that we both are feeling right now. Take a deep breath. I know you are
Mm.
in the throes of it all.
You know, when your child is like, I don't feel like getting up out of bed.
Okay, that was a little muffled. I didn't hear what she said. Did you
Oh,
get that
I said,
clearly?
when your child say, I don't want to get up out of bed
Yeah.
because she doesn't want to deal with all this, with the virus, with the politics, with the staying in, being quarantined, with the not being able to go out, not being able to interact. She's like Skyping, FaceTime. She said that doesn't get it. And when you see her just sitting there, sometimes just crying,
Mm-hmm.
it gets to you.
It does.
And then you say you wish all these that's in office need to just do the right thing. All these people that are there not wearing masks. I'm like, cover your face. It's no big deal. It's not as though you're going to wear it 24 hours a day. It's only for a few hours. Do you know what I mean?
The problem with the mask, Proby, is that they have politicized the masks. When in the beginning, if they had just said everybody has to wear a mask because this is what happens if you don't, we would have all had to put masks on. But the reality was there were no masks because there were people that there were people who knew that this virus was coming before the United States government recognized that it was coming, because they had people overseas. So they bought up all of the masks thinking, you know what, let me make some money off of this and control the market. That was one thing. Then the masks weren't taken seriously and they weren't being sent to the right place. But if they had told us to put on face coverings, which Fauci was trying to say at one point, he's like, I'm not going to push it because he wasn't getting the approval from above. But if they had just said, wear the face mask, we would not be over 100,000 people dead.
Yeah.
So now we're just dealing with something that's supposed to be simple, sending our kids back to school. And again, parents, today was the last day for you to opt out of this nonsense. I would recommend that you still go and talk to your school and see if anything that you're hearing here has caused you to look at things in a different way. Go and check with your school and see if you can opt out. Because not going back to work to me is not that important. If you're dead, you can't.
Thank you.
Okay.
My daughter made this comment to me, and I sat there and I just stared at her. She said, Mommy, all those Jews that hid from the Nazis during the Holocaust, they hid for all those months and sometimes years. She said that America can't have a trouble wearing masks. She said, for even one day.
And as you said that, my tech crew just put up all of their masks on their face. Because I mean, even with this show and the show that we did before, we have to make a choice to sit here with each other, and we all have our masks. We try to social distance, and we try to get checked. But still, at some point, we could slip.
Mhm.
So I am not going to run this show because it's late. And normally this is not my slot. It's normally 6 p.m. on Saturdays. And I do want to first say I appreciate your input because a lot of people are not, they don't want to talk because they feel that they're going to lose their jobs. And my thing
Mhm.
is, once again, if you ain't alive, it doesn't matter whether you lost your job. I've lost two of my family members to this renegade virus. So I know how important it is to speak the information, and these are our children. So what I'm going to ask you is that
Mhm.
if there's anything else that you positively need us to know about this, because I don't want to hold you up again. And like I said, we're in a later slot, so I'm trying to keep it in the hour. Is there anything
Um.
else you need us to know?
No, this is what I want. I was trying to find out, and I was waiting for somebody to get back to me. What are the plans? What is the plan for if after the teacher and the kids that had COVID, after they recover, are they going to be allowed back into school? Because you can't catch it again.
Hmm. That's a very good question. And here's the unfortunate answer right now. We're not going to find out until people start dropping dead.
Yeah,
And this
unfortunately.
time, they're going to be children. And this time, we're going to say, oh my God, I didn't know. We've
Mhm.
known for a while.
Mhm.
We're not being smart.
If I'm like this, if Chicago could do all this schooling online, why can't we? To be on the safe side.
I don't know. I don't
I don't
know.
know.
But again, I appreciate you so much for coming on and
Sure.
giving this a voice because
Mhm.
I'm not a teacher. I am not a principal, and it just carries more weight when I have someone who's directly in the system who is willing to speak. And I wish you, I wish I could give this whole spin some hope, but the hope is that
Mhm.
your kid doesn't have to deal with this because I opted my child out.
Yep. So did I.
And fortunately I have a position where I can maneuver my schedule, and he's a little older, but I'm more concerned about the social impact of
Yes.
what it's doing to his age group
Mhm.
because I mean he's a good student, he'll sit here and read, I'll create assignments for him, we get the work, that's all great, he's got wonderful marks, but this communicating with people, this Zoom
Mhm.
being the new thing and the iPhone, and you have to interact. You have to get up and go do exercise. I have to drag him out the house. Let's go walk around the block. Let's go running. But I see
Yes.
that when I'm
Mhm.
walking with him around the block, he's scared.
Mhm.
And I thought the biggest thing that I was going to have to talk with him about was you being a black man in America.
Mhm.
Now you being a black man in America and COVID has been mixed in.
Yeah.
It's
I'm so.
it's
I feel so bad for this generation.
they will children are resilient. That's the hope.
Mhm.
That is the hope.
Mm.
So Proby, I'm going to ask you for your final words, and then I'm going to do final words and do some station identification and roll us out of here. So what are your final words for our audience tonight?
Please.
You have nothing to say. I've said everything. I have nothing to say.
Yeah. Just hug your kids a little bit tighter.
Hug them and love them and do the right thing.
Yeah.
That's what every parent should do. And I again appreciate you for coming in and being with
Mhm.
me. And once again, on my final words, families who are listening, parents who are listening, August 7th was the last day, which is today. I implore you, if you missed it and didn't opt your child out and you still feel that there's something that you need to do and you can keep your child home and you have the means to do so, contact your child's school, talk to the district office, and find out if you can have them do the remote learning. Okay? That's the best thing that I can offer you. And I'm going to thank my audience for being as wonderful and hanging with us. And don't forget, remember, we have a power block of shows that we normally have. On Friday is the 6 p.m. with the raw discussion. And at 7 p.m. you have the real discussion with Rock Logic, Gary D, ESP, and Robin. And on Saturday mornings, you have at 10 a.m. on iHeartRadio, which is also WBDR, the Fresh Start Focus with Tanya Hazelhurst Dawkins. And on Saturday at 6 p.m., which is my normal time slot, except for tomorrow, you have ESP Speaks. Then at Sunday, 7 a.m., you have Uncle Lay's with his inspirational emails, which he will be on the West Coast, so he's not going to be doing it this Sunday, but he will be back the Sunday to follow. Then at 8 p.m., you have Pastor Leo Colon, and you can catch In His Presence at www.ihpfwc.org and feed your spirit and your soul through all of this. And then at Sunday at 4 o'clock, you have our One Nightja show where Stan, Rock, and Sandrea come together and really dig into the plights that are happening in the NYCHA system and what we're going to be doing about that. And every morning at 6:30, Monday through Thursday, you do have the morning emails to get you motivated with Uncle Lay's and, of course, the birds that he hangs out with. And I don't mean birds as in women. I mean, he has a set of beautiful lovebirds that actually make a whole bunch of noise. So family, do chime in for that if you have the time. And I'm going to sign out now because it's getting late. And again, we did a whole flock of shows today. We did 3 shows back to back. And tomorrow is another day. And I wish you all peace and blessings. But I want to leave you with a thought that Malcolm X once said. Education is a passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And I, as ESP Speaks is going to add to that. You shouldn't have to die for that education, because so many of our ancestors have already done so. Let's think smart. Let's stay safe. And until I see you next time, peace and blessings. Say good night, Rocky.
Good night, Rocky!
Oh, Lord.